Hi there, I'm Shulamit.
Hi, I'm Nicole.
Welcome to the Business Therapy Center Live.
Yes.
Hey, Nicole, would you like to start with a check in maybe?
Yeah, sure. Let's do that.
Mm,
Right?
yeah. And maybe if if it appeals to you because you're watching along with us, you could join in a check in for yourself too.
hmm
Would you like to go first, Nicole, or shall I?
For our check in? Yeah,
Yeah.
sure, I'll go. So, what I'm noticing is that I'm really excited. I have a nervousness and a flutter here because I'm excited about this. I also have a sense of calmness and collaboration because I always love spending time with you, and curiosity about what is going to happen next. And yeah, a little nervousness.
Yeah. I share that fluttery excitement slash nervous, right? It's new, it's the first time. Um, I'm excited to be playing with you in this way because it's always, like you say, fun to hang out. I
hmm
also, in front of me, are three big windows that look out on the natural world around me. And it's for US Americans like 60, 65 degrees here today, which is really weird for March. But it just delights my spirit to see the sun and just, and that kind of like resonates with the delight that I'm feeling in doing this with you. So,
Mm-hmm.
yay, we.
Yay. Yeah, and we have
Yeah.
a dreary rainy day here, so there's nothing else to do but hang
Hmm.
out and have a good conversation. So that's a good thing.
Well, what better to do, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So you had something
Yeah.
you wanted to say about where we are with this and what's
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah. So, Shula and I have known each other for a while. And we both have similar backgrounds. And I said to her, there's something that I think we could create together that we haven't really seen anywhere. Um, we we saw that there was a need for an integration between business support and mental health support, and we kept talking about it, and I said, well, you know I've never seen anything like this before. Have you seen anything like this before? And so we felt that there was a need for this, and so we decided to step in to fill that gap. And I can't think of anyone better and more suited to do this than you and I. And so we're here to talk to you about what the Business Therapy Center is, how it came to being, what our thoughts are about it and our dreams for it. And yeah, because this is a new space to be in, and we're excited about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we both saw the same thing working because we both work with entrepreneurs and we're
hmm
both licensed mental health professionals. And I don't know about you, but I was kind of irritated on behalf of the people I was working with that they were not receiving mental health aware support.
hmm
That they were receiving strategies and tactics, which are great and important, but sometimes something has to happen first before you can implement a strategy or a tactic. And then when you do implement those things, stuff happens and you have responses to that, right? And that to me seemed to be like a missing piece of the puzzle.
I agree. I think it was a big missing piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
felt the same thing, and I think it's important to see the whole big picture. We get very compartmentalized with people, particularly when it comes to business. Like, go do this thing, use this strategy. We're going to tell you to jump without a net. Like, there's just all this noise around what it means to be successful, and not only successful, but to have sustainability in your business as a business owner, entrepreneur. There's some big gaps in that puzzle that I think you and I are very curious about talking about and filling.
I really like that you use the word sustainability because,
Mm,
you know, in business, when you take business training of any sort, implicit in business is unbridled growth.
yeah.
The growth is the goal, growth is the point, growth is the purpose. If you're not growing, if you're not, what's the word, scaling,
hmm
then there's something the matter with your business.
hmm
And for me as a human coming into business, uh, I discovered actually kind of the hard way that growth wasn't. When I considered my mental health in the picture, as an entrepreneur when I was growing a business that was really growing. The cost, the cognitive cost, the physical cost, the emotional cost of this unbridled growth. And then I see how the unbridled growth outside of solopreneurship, like just in the world, and the harms that causes, that's just not my value. My value is sustainability and generativity. And I want to bring that value to my business, but also to support the women I work with, because, sustainability has been it's not even considered when women ask themselves, what is it that matters to me in my world? And what am I trying to accomplish? Sustainability doesn't even figure.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And, that is something that I've been working with clients with as well for a while, to look at, when you decide to start a business, you get all of this advice about a sales plan, a marketing plan, a business plan. How many, clients or how many employees are you going to hire? Like all that stuff, like all that scaffolding, but no one helps you develop what an emotional sustainability plan is. And there's a lot of facets to that are, I think, foundational to the success of your business or your endeavors as an entrepreneur, that when that step is missed, you're on shaky ground. And whether you want to be someone who leverages your time and, expands and grows or not, if you don't have that firm foundation, it's going to be a little rocky, for
Right.
you.
That's
So
a good
it's a
point.
huge missing piece.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I'd rather you make, a certain amount of money that is sustainable, that feels sustainable, that you're happy with, and feeling like you're always having to leverage, grow, push, scale. There's not a lot of room in that language for ease.
Yeah. Well,
Dare I say ease?
Ease? Yes. We're not anti-growth, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's rather, how do you grow?
Yeah.
If you decide you want to grow with sustainability as the foundation. And as you say, emotional sustainability, because if you're in bed with the covers over your head, even though you 10x'd your business last year, like your business is going to crash if you can't sustain that, right? So we have to find sustainable ways of doing well. And in fact, I like, even better than sustainable. Now I'm having a brain fart because we're live. And so sometimes when it's on demand, my brain just doesn't cooperate with me. I forget what the word that I've picked, like regeneration, because it's not only about maintaining status quo, it's actually about flourishing, living, doing well, which to me is more than sustainability. Sustainability is like status quo. And I don't know about status quo. Sometimes it's not the best thing, right?
Yeah. Regeneration would be really great. And it's something I think we can aspire to. And I find most days people can't even get themselves to sustainability because it's not been allowed. We've not been taught that. So I'll take it as a stepping stone for sure.
Yeah. Like it's the ladder. Yeah.
It is
I
a
agree
ladder.
with that.
Yeah. We don't want you to come back to baseline. We want you to have growth, like surplus, something else to draw from.
Like you say, ease.
And I just want to say, like, there's going to be no perfection here. So if we forget a word or if we stumble, you'll just have to just go along with us, because that is not who we are. We do not do perfectionism in this space. So we are human beings having a moment, and you'll get to be there for that.
Yeah. Well, I think that's actually important to point out, right? That for us, the human side of business, the humans in the business, the humans doing the business, and even ourselves as professionals supporting humans, we are humans supporting humans. And humanity shows up, and that's like the first, like when we talk about humanity, I feel warm in my heart about it. That's how I want to feel and be about this whole enterprise, is warm in my heart. Yeah. So, but Nicole, we've kind of gone a little ways down the path, and we promised to talk a little bit about who we are and why are we doing this work. And we've, kind of alluded to why we're doing this, but why are we doing this work? Like, why are you doing this work?
So I'm doing this work because it's needed and it's because I'm interested in it. I have
And
a
why you?
me. Why not
Yeah.
me? This happened. It picked me. I didn't necessarily pick it,
Mm.
which I think all the best things do. So
How did that happen?
yeah, so after being a therapist for about 18 years, I have a master's degree in social work. And here in the United States, well, actually, my state, they make it difficult. So in the state of Pennsylvania, where I live, I'm a licensed clinical social worker and have been in mental health and private practice. I've worked with military, people with, substance abuse, challenges, like you name it, I've worked with them. Um, and so after, working with people in that capacity for about 18 years, I did what most of us do in the service and help industry is that I burnt out because we were not taught to take care of ourselves while we were taking care of others. The
Mm-hmm.
expectation was that your clients come first, you work first, you put that before everything else. And so I ended up leaving the field because I was burnt out and having health issues. And so when I started doing coaching, I was very interested in money mindset coaching and got certified to do that. And as I was working with small business owners and entrepreneurs, because they were the ones interested in the money mindset stuff mostly, I began to see that they were not having money challenges that were mindset related. They were actually trauma responses and that they were having money trauma
Oh.
challenges. That started an exploration into how trauma impacts business ownership, entrepreneurship, and leadership. And that's really been the intersection of my work for the past 5 years. So I worked with, founders of companies, CEOs, small business owners who, own a brick and mortar, solopreneurs. I've worked with people across the board. And I haven't met someone yet who has not had some kind of traumatic experience or event in their life that has not found its way into their business in some way. And so why me? Because this it was right place, right time to really see the patterns that were playing out here and to start having the conversation about how trauma impacts entrepreneurship. Because I looked, I Googled it, I GTS'd it, and I did not see anyone at that time, about 5 years ago, having this conversation. And so this has been my work in helping people reveal and, release the impact of childhood trauma's impact on their business, or to understand it so that they can partner with it in a way that is new. So yeah, that's why I do this work, and I think it's vital, and that's how we met, because you're doing similar work, and I was so excited to meet you. Yeah, so that's a little bit about my background. How about you?
I was, well, I've been watching you for a little bit before somebody, because you were a fellow mental health professional working in the entrepreneurial space. And then I actually forget if we were introduced. We have to like figure out, how did we even come
I
together in
think
the
you
first
reached
place?
out to me. I think that you reached out because you
I may
saw,
have.
yeah, that something is
Yeah,
on LinkedIn or something about what I was doing.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for me, like the brilliance, I just want to really point out the brilliance of your work is that um your how you highlight and saw how you saw and then highlighted how childhood trauma shows up in your business. I think that that's absolutely brilliant. And I have to say, like, I'm a trauma therapist. I worked in trauma for a long time, working with clients recovering from complex PTSD and other
Mhm.
things like that. And then I was an entrepreneur, but I just never saw that. And when you were like, I can remember sharing in your Instagram stories just before I started your Do No Harm program, and you were talking about independence, I think, and how like your independent spirit that comes from being a trauma survivor
Mhm.
is often what underlies the establishment of
Yeah.
your business. And I was like, that's it. Because I'm totally in business for myself, because nobody's going to be the boss of me anymore. Nobody's going
Mhm.
to tell me what to do or exercise power and control over me.
Mhm.
And I mean, I sort of knew where that came from, but it was just like you shone a light on that. And I was, yeah, duh, absolutely.
Mhm.
And I think that seeing, like, that's just one aspect of how trauma can show up
Yeah.
in your business. But I just cannot emphasize enough the brilliance of that insight that you have and that you share, and the way that you share it through your Do No Harm program. It's
Thank you.
just, profound.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
you're welcome. And I am so happy that we're friends. This is going to be a love fest a lot of the time.
It will be. And that's okay.
Yeah.
We need all the love we can get, right?
Yeah.
How about
And
you?
why me? Well, this is my third career. I was injured and had to do my own occupational rehab. So I back in the early days when I first started at school, I started in social work but got diverted. And when I was injured, it made sense to come back to like do my professional retraining so I could work in this field. And I'm coming into it late in life, so I needed to have something that I could do basically until I dropped dead. I think we both came into the job market in the same time in the 80s, where people think the gig economy is like now, but I'm here to tell you, folks, that the gig economy has been going since the 80s because there were no jobs. There was contract work. So I had contract after contract after contract, but I have no savings. I have no pension, none of that. So what I chose to do had to be, as we say, sustainable. It had to serve me till the day I died or until I wanted it to stop serving me.
Mm-hmm.
So the minute I got out of school, I had been working in the mental health and personal growth field for a long time, but I wanted to make this my full-time practice. So I went back to school and got a master's degree and became a licensed therapist. Mm-hmm. And the minute that was done, I started business training because there's the story about how most small businesses fail in the first year.
Yep.
And if not in the first year, the first 5. And that was just not going to be my story. So as you know, I forget his name, but he wrote the book, The E-Myth, the entrepreneurship myth. Mm-hmm. And he talks about technicians having an entrepreneurial seizure, that we, like a mechanic who says, I can do this on my own. I'm going to go on he's a great mechanic, but knows nothing about how to run his business. And school prepares us to be excellent clinicians and therapists. Mm-hmm. And so does all our professional training, but it tells us nothing about running a business. Yeah. So I leapt into networking with other entrepreneurs and business training. And in those environments, there were no other mental health professionals. And with my own experience emotionally, because as a therapist, I'm attuned to like emotional stuff. So I was watching my emotions as I went through starting up, getting established, doing the marketing, all the things that came up, how that affected my mental health, and how my mental health then in turn affected my capacity to run my business. And I was hanging out with people who I was the only therapist in the room. So they, I believe, would share with me things that they might not have shared with their other entrepreneurial colleagues. Mm-hmm. They were slightly more revealing about their emotional life or their emotional or just their sadness, and it became so clear that what was needed amongst the entrepreneurs I was hanging out with, and this was pre-COVID, so it was in real life, was someone to support them who got not only the challenges of business, but also the emotional roller coaster of business. Yeah. And how to support themselves and how to modulate those ups and downs and how to ride them well. And that's how I came to be the entrepreneur's therapist. Mm-hmm. And, as a trauma therapist, hearing what you had to say about the intersection of trauma and entrepreneurship, it was just a natural fit that we should work together because the work we do is complementary, right? Yeah. And I was really attracted by your idea of how can we work together? How can we create a thing? Mm-hmm. How can we create something that is bigger than the both of us so that we can serve more widely, so that we can have an impact more widely? Mm-hmm. Even if there aren't people who end up working with us one-to-one, that still there is a kind of a movement around the intersection of entrepreneurship and mental health.
Yeah, I agree. I like the word movement.
Yeah. So we decided to call it the Business Therapy Center.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And not like 100 today, so I'm probably not being as articulate as I like to, but that's okay. We called it the Business Therapy Center because we wanted people to know exactly what this place is and what we do and why. I don't know if you've heard this from your clients, Shula, but I have, where they've said, my therapist gets this and my business coach gets this, and never the two shall meet. And so that's what we're hoping to do, is the two shall meet here, right? This is a place where if you are an entrepreneur or business owner, that you can actually come and get support, therapeutic support, coaching, education for people who get it, right? Our vision is maybe that this could be like a tradition, like you would call it a traditional group practice, where at some point, it may be more than just us. But for now, the Business Therapy Center is just that. The language of it, the title of it is very, very clear. This is the place where this is our spot in the world where you can come get support if you are a business owner or entrepreneur. And we have not seen that. And so here we are to make this happen.
Mm-hmm. And just to refine a little bit, emotional support, emotions friendly support.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed this. We've sort of talked about it. There's plenty of business training.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of courses you can take. There's lots of coaches you can work with. There are lots of networking groups. There are lots of small business enterprise centers and all kinds of formal, and even networking is social. Like there's all kinds of ways, but the missing piece is this emotions friendly place. And so emotions are welcome here. Yeah, the emotional side of things is welcome here. Your mental health, your mental wellness is on the table here. Yeah.
Yep. It's part of the equation.
Yeah.
We'll celebrate your best day, but we'll also hold space for the worst. That's who we are. That's what we do. There's no, real here. We want the real pieces of your life, and that's what we can support people with.
Well, that's part of the humanity, right? Humanity is all of it, the whole thing. Yeah.
I agree.
So I'm just looking down to see, we had set an agenda for today. We had promised in the little description what we were going to talk about, why we are doing this work, who we are, and what is the center. And I feel like we've said all of that. We've addressed all those things. Is there anything you think is missing, or anything more that you want to say?
I think that we can share a little bit more detail as far as what that looks like. That we provide one-on-one support. We both have our own businesses. Like, let's just put that out there. We both have our own businesses, kind of the way that we work with people. And when we bring those together for the Business Therapy Center, it's so complementary because we do work with people in different ways, and we do have different areas of expertise and different tools and modalities and styles that we use. I mean, you can tell that right now that we have different styles. But we do offer one-on-one support. We have group support, education and training. And we're going to be sharing more about what that looks like. So I just thought maybe, a little bit more detail about, what the Business Therapy Center looks like and offers right now.
So I'm going to check in with myself and see if there's more. Oh, what is our goal for these lives? We didn't even, that didn't show up until just this very moment. Like we're planning on meeting live on a regular basis. And we've developed a bunch of topics. So I think I'd like to say a little bit about what my intention is for these lives, at least in the first little while. Because there's stuff that bugs me. Stuff that I think is important that is not being said, or that is being not articulated in a way that I think is helpful, and or is being articulated in ways that are directly harmful around mental health and business. And so my desire, of course, is to be supportive and to be, because so often, so many of my clients come to me thinking there's something wrong with them. And they've absorbed something from somewhere because that's the way the world is. And then instead of it being the liberatory thing or the healing thing that they had hoped it would be, it becomes something they beat themselves up with. And just to the what they're thinking about is not incorrect. It's the application that is, like, I'm making this movement with my hand, like that needs some gentling, some kind of like refinement or something. And I see this happening all the time. And so part of what I put on the agenda for the things that we are going to talk about are some of the issues and topics that I see coming up that I think it would be helpful to understand better, or that are straight up causing harm that need, I think, to be addressed. And like that's kind of like some kind of repair or restoration energy that I want to send into the world around this question of mental health in the online space for people who are doing business online, for entrepreneurs, micropreneurs, solopreneurs, small business owners. That's kind of where I'm coming from around this, and kind of what my vision is for what we're doing. What about you?
I agree. And, we talked about doing this, outside of just creating the Business Center, but also kind of sharing our thoughts about it. There are a lot of myths about mental health that we would like to talk about. There's a lot of noise around it. There's a lot of people who've caught on to it, who are talking about it in ways that are harmful. And I think that this isn't going to be a call out channel necessarily, but we are going to talk about, what reflects our values and what we really have seen over our decades, in mental health treatment and mental health support. That is part of, it's crucial, to helping someone, as you said, get some liberation. And so that's my intention too, is for this to be a place for us to talk about these things, to dispel some things, to provide encouragement, to give some insights that maybe people had not thought of, for us to talk to each other about a topic that we're kind of rumbling with, as Brene calls it. Share what our values are and how we got to them, so maybe a little bit of that type of stuff as well. So that's my intention is here, as well as education support and, a little bit of a spotlight for some of the issues that are important to us that we want to talk about.
And we also are stealing from Dr. Michelle Mazur and Maggie Patterson. As we go forward, we're going to be doing shit we saw on the internet, stuff that makes us mad.
Yes.
So you can look forward to some of that. And our next, yes. And actually, I'm thinking that I'll put some of the references that we've mentioned today. Once we get done, I'll put them in the comments so people can refer to them. Our topic for next time. So just to give a little introduction to our topic for next time, I'm writing a book on women entrepreneurship and mental health. And what I've been doing is interviewing women entrepreneurs, asking a group of women entrepreneurs the same 5 questions around entrepreneurship and mental health. And so we'll be asking each other those 5 questions in our next time together.
Exciting.
And in the meantime, please subscribe to the channel. And also, please go to thebusinesstherapycenter.com. We'll put the link in the comments, and sign up for our newsletter so you can stay in touch.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to say before we sign off, Nicole?
No, just I'm happy we're here, and I'm happy that we're starting. And I can't wait to see what this, how this evolves and who becomes a part of our community. So definitely subscribe and like and comment and let us know what you're thinking.
Right on. See you next time.
Yeah.